Hae-jin stood on the observation deck of the Eridia research station, staring at the endless black of space. He had always loved the stars. They were calm, beautiful, and predictable. But tonight, something was different. A strange glimmer caught his eye far beyond the nearest planet. At first, he thought it was a meteor, but the light did not move like any meteor he had ever seen. "Subin," he called, waving toward the station's lab. "Come quickly. You need to see this." Subin, the young scientist who had been working with him for years, hurried over, her eyes wide with curiosity. "What is it, Hae-jin?" she asked. "Look there," he said, pointing. "I don't know, but it's huge." Through the telescope, Subin gasped. A fleet of massive ships was appearing, moving silently across the galaxy. Each one was bigger than any human ship ever built. They gleamed with a strange metal that reflected the stars like liquid silver. They had shapes that seemed alive, twisting and bending as if breathing. "They're beautiful," Subin whispered, but her voice trembled. "And terrifying." Hae-jin felt a chill run down his spine. He had flown many missions, seen dangerous storms and hostile planets, but nothing had prepared him for this. These ships were not just visitors. They radiated power, a force so immense it seemed to shake the very air of the station. Suddenly, the largest ship broke formation and hovered above Iridia's central planet. Its shadow spread across the surface, darkening cities and oceans in an instant. Panic began to rise across the colony. People ran from windows, their faces pale and terrified. Hae-jin and Subin felt the fear themselves, but they forced themselves to stay calm. "This is not a mistake," Subin said, her voice firm. "They are here for a reason." Hae-jin nodded. "We need to understand them before they act. If they are dangerous," he did not finish. The thought of the fleet firing a weapon capable of destroying worlds was too frightening. From the largest ship, a small probe descended slowly, moving like a graceful bird. It scanned the planet, shining a light that made the metal on buildings look like silver veins. Hae-jin watched it, his heart pounding. The probe was not just observing, it was studying everything, learning, calculating. Isuk, the commander of the fleet, watched from inside her ship. She was tall, with sharp eyes and a calm expression that hid all emotion. She had traveled across the galaxy for centuries, observing civilizations and deciding which should continue to exist. Now, she had reached Eridia, and the humans below did not yet know what was at stake. Hae-jin turned to Subin. "We need to send a message. Something to show we are intelligent, that we can communicate. Maybe they will spare us." Subin nodded, quickly typing into the transmitter. Symbols and patterns formed on the screen, a message of peace and curiosity. It was a small act, but it felt monumental. The probe paused, hovering in the air, and then slowly lifted back toward the fleet. For a moment, the colony held its breath. Then the ships began to move again, slowly, deliberately. They did not attack. Not yet. But their presence alone was enough to remind everyone how fragile life could be. Hae-jin and Subin watched the alien fleet, their hearts heavy with fear and awe. They knew this was only the beginning. Something enormous was coming, something that could change the galaxy forever. And humanity, small and fragile, would have to face it. In that silent moment, under the shadow of unimaginable power, both Hae-jin and Subin realized a truth they could not escape. The universe was far larger, stranger, and more dangerous than they had ever imagined. And now, it had noticed them. Days passed after the alien fleet first appeared. Hae-jin and Subin worked tirelessly to understand the visitors. The humans had never seen anything like the ships. They were enormous, glowing with strange energy that seemed almost alive. Every attempt to scan them only showed more questions. How did they move so quickly without engines? How did they generate so much power without fuel? Subin was fascinated and terrified at the same time. She stared at the data streams from their sensors. "Hae-jin," she said, her voice tight with excitement. "These ships, they are not just machines. They think. I can feel it. Their patterns, their movements, they are intelligent." Hae-jin nodded, rubbing his forehead. "Intelligent or not, they can destroy us in an instant. We have to find a way to protect ourselves." The humans' fear was growing. Rumors spread across the colony. Some believed the aliens had come to conquer. Others thought they were collectors, like cosmic hunters deciding who should live or die. Hae-jin and Soo-bin ignored the rumors. They focused on the fleet itself. One night, while monitoring the ships from a hidden satellite, Hae-jin noticed a strange pattern. A smaller ship separated from the fleet and moved silently toward an uninhabited planet. Soo-bin joined him, her eyes wide with curiosity. "They are testing something," she said. "Look at the energy readings. That ship, it's drawing power from the planet itself." Hae-jin swallowed hard. "Do you mean it could destroy the planet?" Soo-bin nodded grimly. "Yes, they could wipe it out completely if they wanted." Fear tightened Hae-jin's chest. He had seen storms, black holes, and even asteroid collisions, but nothing compared to the feeling of knowing a civilization could vanish in moments by a hand not human. Still, the humans did not give up. Using stealth drones, Hae-jin and Soo-bin decided to get closer. They wanted to see the ships up close, to understand how to defend their world. Flying through the darkness of space, they approached one of the smaller alien vessels. Their hearts raced. Every movement of the ship felt deliberate, precise, almost aware. Inside the ship, the walls pulsed with light. Strange machines moved on their own, emitting soft hums that sounded like music from another world. Energy cores glowed like tiny suns, filling the room with warmth and power. Hae-jin could barely breathe. The humans were inside something far beyond their understanding, a ship that could destroy planets with ease. Then they saw her, Mi-suk. The commander of the fleet was standing at the center of the room, observing the energy cores. She turned, her eyes sharp but calm. She did not speak, but somehow Hae-jin felt her tension like a weight pressing down. It was as if she could read his thoughts, judging every action. Soo-bin whispered, She knows we're here." Mi-suk tilted her head slightly, almost curious. Hae-jin felt a strange connection, a silent understanding. Despite the fear, there was respect there. She was studying them, not attacking. Perhaps she was intrigued by humanity's courage, or their foolishness. After what felt like hours, the humans returned to their ship, hearts pounding. They had learned more about the aliens in one night than any human had in centuries. Hae-jin looked at Soo-bin. "We are small, weak, but maybe we have something they don't expect. Something worth noticing." Soo-bin nodded, her mind racing with ideas. "We need to prepare. If they decide to act, the entire galaxy could be at risk. But maybe, just maybe, they can be reasoned with." As the alien fleet drifted across the stars, silent and majestic, the humans realized the universe was no longer just a place of wonder. It was a place of danger, power, and choices far beyond their control. And yet, it was also a place where courage, curiosity, and intelligence might save them. Hae-jin gazed at the fleet one last time before returning to base. Awe and fear filled his heart, but he also felt a spark of hope. Humanity was small, but it was alive. And alive meant it could fight, learn, and survive, even against gods of metal and light. The fleet continued its journey, mysterious and terrifying, leaving the humans to wonder. What did these travelers seek, and would humanity's courage be enough to survive what was coming next? The alien fleet moved closer to human-controlled space. Every day, fear grew across the colonies. Rumors spread that the fleet could destroy planets in minutes, that entire civilizations had vanished under its power. Hae-jin felt the weight of this fear more than anyone. Every time he looked at the stars, he saw the glowing shapes of the alien ships, silent but full of threat. "Soo-bin," he said one morning in the lab, "we can't just wait. If we do nothing, our worlds are lost." Soo-bin nodded, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "I've been studying their energy cores. If we can destabilize even one, it might slow them down, maybe even force them to stop." Hae-jin's eyes widened. "You mean sabotage a ship? That's suicide." "It might be the only way," Soo-bin replied, her voice calm but determined. "We have the technology to get close, but it will be dangerous. Someone must go inside and place the device manually." Hae-jin felt a surge of courage and fear. He knew what it meant. Yet, he also knew there was no one better. "I'll do it," he said. "If humanity is going to survive, I have to try." The plan was simple in theory but terrifying in reality. Using stealth ships, Hae-jin would approach one of the smaller alien vessels, evade the defenses, and place the destabilizing device near its energy core. Su-bin prepared the device, a small but powerful mechanism that could disrupt the ship's energy flow without destroying it entirely. The night before the mission, Hae-jin stood on the observation deck, looking at the stars. "Su-bin, what if I fail?" he asked quietly. "You won't," she said firmly, placing a hand on his shoulder. "We've studied them. We know their patterns. You are humanity's best chance. The courage you carry is more than weapons. It is what they might not expect." When the time came, Hae-jin piloted his ship toward the alien fleet. The larger ships seemed to sense his presence. Lights flashed along their hulls, energy pulses running like heartbeat rhythms across the surface. Hae-jin's palms were sweaty, but his hands were steady. Inside the ship, the corridors were alive with pulsing light. Machines hummed and moved on their own, their energy like living stars. Hae-jin could feel the immense power around him. Every step toward the core felt like walking into a storm of fire and electricity. Then, suddenly, he saw her, Mi-suk, the commander of the fleet. She was standing near the energy core, observing him with sharp, calm eyes. Hae-jin froze. She did not attack. She simply watched. "I see you are brave," she said, her voice like a melody carried through the humming of the ship. "But bravery alone does not save worlds." Hae-jin swallowed hard. "I am not alone," he replied. "We are a species that can think, learn, and change. We can survive if you let us. We are not just small creatures. You should see our courage." Mi-suk tilted her head, studying him. For the first time, Hae-jin felt that the alien commander might understand. Something passed between them, a silent acknowledgement of intelligence, will, and determination. With a deep breath, Hae-jin placed the device on the energy core. The hum of the ship changed, the light pulsing irregularly. Mi-suk watched, expression unreadable. A moment later, the ship stabilized again, as if testing the humans' actions. Then, it slowly powered down its defensive systems, giving Hae-jin the chance to escape. The fleet halted its movement in space, its ships hovering silently above the planets below. Hae-jin returned to his base, heart pounding, exhausted but alive. Su-bin rushed to him, tears in her eyes. "You did it. You actually did it." Hae-jin nodded, staring at the stars. The alien fleet was still out there, silent and powerful, but something had changed. Humanity had shown courage, intelligence, and resolve. And perhaps, for the first time, the fleet, Mi-suk, had noticed that humans were not as fragile as they seemed. The galaxy remained dangerous, vast, and full of unknown threats. But Hae-jin felt something he had never felt before: hope. For the first time, he realized that humanity's true power was not in its weapons or technology. It was in its will to survive and to rise, even when facing unimaginable odds. Hae-jin returned to the observation deck, his body exhausted but his mind alert. The alien fleet hovered silently above the colonies, a massive shadow stretching across planets and oceans. Yet now, something was different. The ships had stopped their slow, ominous advance. The tension in the air felt lighter, as if the galaxy itself were holding its breath. Su-bin approached him, her face pale but smiling. They haven't attacked. Not yet. And I think it's because of what you did." Hae-jin shook his head, disbelief in his eyes. "I just placed a device. That was all. How could that stop them?" Su-bin's gaze turned toward the stars. "It wasn't just a device. It was you. It was humanity. The courage you showed, even when everything seemed impossible. I think they see that now. We are not just weak creatures. We are alive. We can fight, we can think, and we can survive." Inside the alien ship, Mi-suk watched the humans from afar. She had spent centuries traveling across the galaxy, observing countless civilizations rise and fall. She had never seen such determination in creatures so small and fragile. For the first time, she felt doubt. Perhaps humanity was not a species to erase. It was a species to watch, to learn from, to test further. A transmission echoed across the colonies, a strange combination of light pulses and sound that humans could finally interpret. Mi-suk's voice filled the air, calm yet commanding. "Humans of Eridia and nearby worlds, your courage is noted. Your species has potential beyond its size. You will be spared. But know this, your actions are being observed. The galaxy is vast, and danger is everywhere. Survive, grow, and prove your worth. Hae-jin and Subin exchanged a look of relief mixed with awe. The fleet did not retreat. They simply drifted away, continuing their silent journey across the galaxy. Yet the humans understood something important. They had survived. They had shown strength, intelligence, and courage, and for the first time, the galaxy had acknowledged them. News of Hae-jin's mission spread quickly. Colonies celebrated quietly, not with loud parties, but with a profound sense of relief and pride. Humanity had faced a power that could destroy entire worlds, and survived. The story of the small pilot and the brilliant scientist became a symbol of hope for every human across the stars. Hae-jin looked up at the night sky, watching the alien fleet move like silver ghosts among the stars. "They are still out there," he said softly, "watching us, testing us." Subin nodded. "Yes, but now we know something. We know we can rise to the challenge. We can fight, we can think, and we can survive even against powers far beyond our imagination." For the first time, fear was mixed with wonder. The fleet was not gone. It would return to observe other worlds, to test other species. But humanity had made its mark. They had proven that even the smallest creatures could show greatness when faced with impossible odds. Hae-jin and Subin stood together, silent, letting the stars fill their vision. The galaxy was dangerous, yes, but it was also full of possibilities. Every human heart, every mind that reached for the stars, carried a spark of courage that could light even the darkest reaches of space. In the quiet that followed, a sense of unity and hope spread across the colonies. Humanity had learned a lesson written in starlight. The universe may be vast and terrifying, but determination, courage, and intelligence could carve a place for them among the stars. The alien fleet continued its slow journey across the galaxy, mysterious and powerful, leaving a single, undeniable truth behind. Humanity was alive, and alive meant they could survive anything, even the gods of metal and light that drifted silently above them. Hae-jin took a deep breath, looking at Subin. "We survived this test. But the galaxy is just beginning to notice us." Subin smiled, hope shining in her eyes. "Then let it notice. Let it see what humanity can do." And in the silence of space, the humans looked up at the stars, small but unbroken, ready to face the wonders and dangers yet to come.